That was way more difficult than it needed to be. I moved my whole desk. Oh no. Okay. Don't mind me just moving my desk back. Everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat if you're new here, and if you're not, welcome back. Today I'm going to try out 3 different ways to print t-shirts at your home or just on your own. I already did them and I forgot to try on all 3, so I will show you at the end the last one. It won't be on, but I'll show it to you, and then I will talk about which one that I liked best, which method I think worked well, and then some things that I might change if I tried it again. And then also, these t-shirt designs that I'm creating in this video are kind of what I would want my merch to look like. So if you like one more than the other, or think that the color versions are better, if you don't want to just see, black letters or anything like that, let me know in the comments below, because I will be making these into real shirts. Not at my own house. I'm not making them on my own. I will be probably making them through Amazon. So hopefully you guys will see that soon. And yeah, I just want to get your feedback before I put it into motion. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Welcome to the voiceover. For this first DIY, you will need a plain t-shirt, a sewing hoop, some paint brushes, Mod Podge, some fabric paint, and like pantyhose or tights. First, you want to create a design so that you know what you're gonna do next. If you don't really know what you wanna do, it's important to have it planned out. And while I'm drawing it out, I'm kind of creating lines to follow so the letters are relatively the same size. You can also print out a design to use, but it's up to you. And if you do print out a design to use, try to be sure that there's no copyright on the images that you're using, otherwise you could get in trouble for that. And obviously I'm using my outro, catchphrase that I say almost every video. I'm putting that on the t-shirt with a little cat in the middle. And then once you're done with that, you can set that off to the side. You can always outline all of the parts where you will cut later, so that it's more obvious where you want to cut. Then you just want to cut the tights and then stretch it into the hoop. I had some trouble with this. It's a little bit difficult, but once you get the 2 ends in, you can just pull it through the circle all the way around until it's completely done. So what you want to do next is cut out all the letters, save any inside parts for the D and the O's and all of that, because you're gonna need them later. What's cool about this piece of paper is I'm saving it to do another one of the examples with. So once you get all the letters cut out, all you want to do is trace around them with permanent marker onto the tights. This will create a guide for you to paint the Mod Podge around later. For the sake of keeping your lines clean, let the permanent marker dry a little bit before you go in with the Mod Podge. Otherwise it'll smear your lines. So go in with a good thick layer of Mod Podge all around those letters, so outside of the Sharpie, because you want to leave the inside open so that that's where the paint will seep through. Let the Mod Podge dry completely and then reapply if you notice any areas that don't seem to be covered enough. Once it's completely dry, you can get your shirt ready by putting cardboard inside of the shirt so that it doesn't leak through when you apply the paint. Then you want to center that hoop onto the shirt so that the design will be in the middle. or off to the side if that's what you want. Mix whatever color you want, or just use the color straight out of the tube. It doesn't matter, but make sure you're using fabric paint. Then just paint that over the areas where you want the ink, and make sure that it's saturated really, really well, otherwise it'll look really faded. Also, you want to make sure that it's completely covered, because once you remove it, you can't put it back on to try again. Then you can go ahead and wash off this in the sink. You can just use water. Okay, so this next hack actually kind of builds off of the last one a little bit. You can do them separately, but I just decided I'm gonna just reuse the thing that I made already instead of creating more work for myself. So if you were to do this from scratch, you would just need to create your design on some sort of stronger paper and then cut that out. And then you have your stencil. It's just a regular stencil type of design. You can also use pre-made stencils if you want to. It's up to you. All you do is you tape the stencil down using some sort of tape that won't stick to the fabric too much. And then you just take whatever color you want to. You can really do any color for this, but I just put down one color because that's all I wanted to do. So it's just black. This one was probably the simplest one to do. It just involved taping a piece of paper to a shirt and painting over it, you know. It's really easy, and you can do really detailed designs with this and different colors as well. Now, obviously, I forgot to try on the first one, but this is what this one looks like on. I really like how it turned out. And I like that I can style it with a flannel because guess what? It's fall. Okay, the last method that I'm doing is the iron-on transfer method. So all you need to do is you need to buy a special paper that you can put in your printer that has like a vinyl transfer sheet on one side, and then the other side is like a heat-safe paper, so you can just iron the design right onto the t-shirt. I've never done anything like this before with this paper because it's always been too expensive. And I figured since I'm doing it for a video, I might as well. So I'm just designing some sort of logo that looks kind of similar to what I did on the other shirts, but obviously it's digital, so it looks a little bit cleaner. That's one of the benefits of this method. Once again, you can just print a design right off of the internet, but once again, be careful of copyright claims. Once it's designed, though, the next step I had some trouble with, you have to flip the page so that it's mirror image, so it'll show up correctly on the paper when you iron it onto the shirt. This is my first time really using a Mac like this. I've never really used Mac before, so I had to search for a really long time to figure this out. Read the instructions thoroughly when you're about to do this because each pack of paper might be a little different. I'm not sure. So make sure that you do it right. Just to be sure that I'm printing it the right way, I marked a paper, put the paper in my printer so I knew which side would come through, you know, which side faces up before. And then you place the paper in so that the front is facing down, at least for my Canon. And then I did a test print in color because I wanted to make sure that the color looked nice. And then I went ahead and printed it. And then here's where I made my first mistake. I cut out around the entire design instead of cutting in between. And then my second mistake was ironing on something that is not heat safe. Always, I repeat, always iron on something that is heat safe. I'm a doofus and I didn't have an ironing board, so I decided to use my cutting board, and that started to melt and it made a weird smell, and I was like, oh hey, I'm gonna burn my house down. So I ended up going and grabbing an oven mitt to iron on top of, and it worked. So there you go, there's a trick. Peel the paper off and you're done, and it looks good, I will admit, even though I'm kind of silly. So just to recap, I made t-shirts with a hoop and nylon. I think that one worked all right. This is the only one that I didn't show you guys, so this is how it turned out. And as you can see, there is some areas that didn't quite take the ink quite as well. So I'd have to be more careful when going over it and painting it. But I mean, like I said, this isn't really what the shirts will be because I'm not gonna make them on my own, you know? Anyways, but I actually kind of like the way the edges look, you know, like they're not completely solid. I like that, and it feels nice, it's soft. It's hard to get precise things, as you can see here. It's hard to have precise lines and everything. But I definitely think I prefer two colors over just the single color, like this. This one. Like, this one looks alright, but it's good for precise lines. This was the one where I put paper down and painted around it. And then, to be honest, this one, because it was my first time using the printout paper stuff, I would have to rework how I did it. If I were to do it again, I would have to cut out all around the shapes instead of just around the entire thing, because you can very obviously see where it's shiny. So where the edge is, see that? Yeah. So it's very obvious that it was printed out and then ironed on. So, I mean, overall, I really did like the printout one. If you have more time to cut around all the shapes and everything, it's not a problem at all. But I think if I were to workshop this one a little more, this would be my favorite, because you can reuse this. So you can make multiple t-shirts of the same design, and it's probably a cheap way to create, you know, funny t-shirts at home if you don't have the means to do it online or through apps. Like, I just took this to the sink and washed it off, and it looks like I just made it. So this by far was my favorite method. And once again, this is the t-shirt that came from that. And you can do as many colors as you want. You could do every single letter a different color. You can also put all of the ink at the top and then scrape it down with like cardboard or a squeegee. There's many ways to do this, so it's all up to you. I'm dragging this on for quite some time, so I should probably wrap this up. Well, that is all I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you want to see every time I upload. And you know what I'm gonna do next, I'm sure. Do it, meow! I need to get glasses that resist glare.